Mr. Watts, state your name, your position on the bill, who you represent, and give us your testimony.
Good morning again, Mr. Chairman and members of the committee. My name is Lathan Watts, Vice President of Public Affairs for Alliance Defending Freedom. Our firm represents teachers, students, and countless other Americans standing for their God-given right to live and speak the truth. Teachers and other public employees cannot be forced to deny their core beliefs, to say things that are untrue just to keep a job. Yet that is exactly what happened to Pam Ricard, a math teacher in Fort Riley Middle School in Fort Riley, Kansas. She spent decades in education and always treated her students with the utmost dignity and respect. The Geary County School District told her to use names and pronouns for students that were inconsistent with the student's biological sex. The district forced Pam to keep parents in the dark about their children who may be struggling with gender dysphoria. In April of 2021, Fort Riley Middle School suspended Pam for 3 days after she declined to refer to a student by a name and pronouns inconsistent with the student's sex. A federal court ruled that Pam was likely to prevail on her First Amendment free exercise of religion claims and granted her motion to halt enforcement of the policy. Shortly after this, the district agreed to settle the case. Their unconstitutional actions ended up needlessly costing taxpayers $95,000 in damages and attorney's fees. John Kluge is a high school orchestra teacher in Indiana, suffered a similar fate when his district announced that John was required to use students' preferred names and pronouns. He asked for a modest accommodation to call students by their last names only, which would allow him to stay neutral on transgender issues and focus on teaching music. The district granted his reasonable accommodation at first, but after a handful of teachers complained, the district revoked the accommodation and forced Mr. Kluge to resign or be terminated. Peter Vlaming, the French teacher that was mentioned earlier, is also our client, was fired for declining to refer to a female with male pronouns. Vivian Garrity, a middle school English teacher in Ohio, was forced to resign after the school district began requiring its teachers to personally participate in the, quote, social transition of children by using preferred pronouns and names. These are just a few of the situations happening around the country. And here in Texas, in 2023, Round Rock ISD provided training to their teachers that instructed them to keep gender identity a secret from parents. And just a couple of weeks ago, Governor Abbott asked the TEA to investigate a situation in a Houston school where a child was being socially transitioned without the parents' consent. Freedom of speech and freedom of religion includes the freedom not to speak. It includes the freedom not to endorse messages contrary to our core beliefs. Teachers shouldn't be forced to mislead parents or say things that are untrue or harmful to students. That's why a growing number of courts are ruling against government officials that force government employees to violate their deepest held beliefs just to keep their job. In Peter Vlaming's case, the Virginia Supreme Court ruled that teachers cannot be compelled to be a mouthpiece for, quote, controversial, religious, political, or ideological causes, nor can the government coerce the people into, quote, pledging verbal allegiance to ideological views that violate their sincerely held religious beliefs. The U.S. Court of Appeals for the Sixth Circuit ruled in favor of Dr. Nicholas Merriweather, a professor at Shawnee State University in Southern Ohio, who was disciplined by the university for declining to refer to a male by female pronouns. Words, including pronouns, have meaning. They carry a message with them. And for many Texans, that message is that a person has an immutable biological sex that is written into every cell of their body by their creator whose image they bear. And pronouns reflect that truth. We would never require an atheist or an agnostic teacher to respond to a student saying God is good with the traditional response of all the time, and all the time God is good. The same is true for gender ideology and preferred pronouns. We must protect teachers to ensure that they are never forced to abandon their beliefs and lie about the meaning of female and male just to keep a job. I want to thank Senator Hughes for addressing this issue and let all of you know, as I said before, the ADF exists to help you provide the strongest protection possible for Texans' rights of free speech and religious liberty. Thank you.